Welcome to Type Tune Tint, everybody. I'm Tom Kranz, and today I'm interviewing myself. I'm promoting my new novel. It's called Wreck and Return. It's a fictionalized version, I guess you could say, of a past life of mine, during which I both worked as a news manager at CBS in New York while volunteering at home here in New Jersey as an EMT. I did worked at CBS for 15 years. I did the EMT thing for 22. The two of them actually crossed paths, and I did both together for about 8 years, which meant commuting. Anybody who commutes from New Jersey to New York knows what a joy that is. It was basically 3 hours of my life every single day that I never got back. The news business itself is stressful. It was a stressful working environment, although the people who I worked with in my immediate scope were very nice and became kind of a second family. Being kind of on alert for news 24 hours a day, 7 days a week can kind of become a handful after a while. So working that, say, 10 to 12 hour day, and then coming home and answering 911 calls, sometimes in the middle of the night, sometimes on weekends, sometimes right after getting home from work, that made for some full days and some full nights. The protagonist of Wreck and Return is Griffin Ambrose. He's a man who is a news manager in New York by day and then a volunteer EMT by night, much like me, although I've really gone out of my way to make the parallels kind of cloudy. A lot of the 911 calls that I feature in the book are based on real 911 calls I went on, but I've really generalized some of the features of those calls, and I've tried very hard to make all those people as anonymous and as generic as possible, so there's no possibility anybody will recognize themselves. These calls all happened over a period of 20 years or so, and there were 3,000 of them, more or less. So I doubt that there will be an issue, but I did want to just kind of keep them as broad as possible. But the basics of the calls are there, and some of the basics of the New York portion of the story are also relevant as well. My protagonist, Mr. Ambrose, he has himself a healthy drink at the end of each workday and convinces himself that he can do that, stop after a period of time, and then be lucent and cogent enough to then go on a 911 call if it happens to be his night, which is an 11 p.m. shift, which he would answer from home. It turns out that doesn't work. And I wrote this as kind of a cautionary tale of a worst case scenario that would happen to an EMT in a case where he or she thinks they can kind of juggle alcohol and that job along with their full-time paid job. Doesn't work. So I wrote what I consider to be a pretty bleak worst case scenario for Mr. Ambrose here. He pretty much almost loses everything. And the last third of the book is kind of about him starting a new life after this horrible event happens and maybe following a path towards redemption. Because it turns out after doing 20 years of good, quite a few of the people who he helped along the way think that maybe one mistake shouldn't erase all that good. So the book is about, wreck and return. This is a guy who pretty much wrecks his life, but then he sees a little glimmer of hope in that he might be able to return to that life. The cautionary tale in the book is about something really bad that happens, and it's a possibility for anybody who mixes alcohol with not only being a first responder, but being pretty much anything. The greatest gift I've had in my adult life has been, in addition to my family, has been being sober all the time and not having to decide every single day, shall I drink or shall I get into my car? Should I imbibe with my friends at a restaurant or should I be, clear-headed and be able to drive home in one piece? I no longer have to make those decisions. And, maybe somebody seeing or hearing this will take that to heart as well. Part of my mission here is to kind of spread the word that alcohol really doesn't mix with much of anything. And for me, it's been a blessing to not have it. Wreck and Return in softcover and ebook on Amazon. Thanks for joining me here on Type Tune Tint. This is our 5th season, and I'll be back soon with another story of an artist, writer, photographer, or a musician who found his or her talent underneath their day-to-day work or under layers of denial, or just waking up one day and deciding, I can do this after all. Thanks for joining me, and take care. Hi, folks. Tom Krantz here. I appreciate you tuning in to my podcast, Type Tune Tint, and I especially appreciate those of you who have subscribed. I started this subscriber thing in July of 2024, really just as a way of recouping a little bit of the costs of doing this podcast. There's website hosting, and there's WordPress additions, and occasionally I buy a book so that I can actually know what I'm talking about when I interview an author. You can subscribe to this podcast for as little as $3 a month. Comes off your credit card automatically, and for $3 a month, you get the satisfaction of knowing that you're helping keep this podcast going. I'm in my 5th year now, but also I will occasionally offer exclusive content just for subscribers. So give it a shot. I appreciate you taking the plunge. You can unsubscribe anytime you want. If you have any questions or comments, of course, you know how to get in touch. So please subscribe, and I appreciate it. Thanks.